This is a moment of great change. I want to start, therefore, by talking a little bit about the mindset. I remember towards the end of the previous century, I know that sounds quite old, I was in college and we were enamored by this new technology called the World Wide Web. The potential seemed limitless, and we were confident that the world would change forever. We knew we were at the precipice of a new dawn, a new humanity, a new world was about to be born. Things that define our life today, from search engines to social media, from smartphones to e-commerce, from software as a service to cloud computing, online education, remote work, all of these were unimaginable in 1997. Of course, some things didn't pan out. I remember having heated discussion with my hostel mates about how the rise of internet will dissolve nation states. Yes, that's what we discussed in our hostels, isn't it? Because as people from supposedly enemy countries discover and see that the other peoples are just human like them, boundaries will dissolve, empathy will be born, understanding and listening would become the norm, peace will prevail, love would win. If you have been on an internet forum recently, you would see that all of this actually happened. No, didn't happen. In fact, boundaries got more deeply embedded, divisions became bigger, right? And like someone told me, if you ever become too optimistic about the future of humanity, go and read the YouTube comment section and you will, correct your views. So today we stand at the precipice of a new era, a new beginning. I have no doubt that the changes it will herald will be as enormous, as tectonic, and as world-changing as the era of World Wide Web did. In 1997, we could not have predicted Uber and Ola and smartphones and Amazon and Google, but we had a glimpse of the future that lay ahead of us. All of it was not there yet, but it was shyly peeking at us from behind the curtain of time and would reveal itself in its glory in the years to come. Today, generative AI peeks at us from behind the curtain too. What are the wonders that lie in wait? What are the solutions that would emerge? And what are the problems that those solutions would create? How would the world change? How would society, humanity, business, work, relationships, love, marriage, parenting change as a result of this transformation? One way to understand, and I understand that I think I should talk about this because I also continuously meet people who have not seen these tools online, right? One way to witness what lies in wait would be to visit various GenAI tools online, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. If you have not experienced this yet, you will feel like what people must have felt when they heard the first radio broadcast, when they made the first phone call, printed the first page, or for you and me, maybe when you watched the first web page load, made your first friend online, or made the first video phone call. What we catch a glimpse of is this. We see machines that can not only write legal contracts, but also draw and paint and write poetry. They can have conversations with us and respond empathetically and teach and learn. We see machines that can do reasoning and make decisions and explain those decisions as well. When the iPhone was invented, it was supposed to be a big deal. It's called the iPhone moment for humanity. But the technologies on which the iPhone was based already existed. The internet existed, touch screens existed, mobile phones existed, MP3 players existed. What the iPhone did was made all of it usable in a very seamless and user-friendly way. This revolution is not like that. This is something genuinely new. This is a genuinely new technology. Something called LLMs, large language models, helps us manipulate language with the help of AI. It mimics human cognitive capabilities. Reading, writing, summarizing, reasoning, decision-making, step-by-step thinking, etc. Now, this is about large language models. But there is a parallel development happening in the world of real-world AI, which is primarily being driven by FSD or full self-driving cars. And I don't think many people get this, but the development of FSD, or full self-driving, will be a watershed moment for humanity as well. It'll be something like what ChatGPT has done for language and text and video. Full self-driving will do that for the real world. And the reason for that is that to solve the problem of a full self-driving car, which is a car that is driven on its own, you will have to solve for movement, you'll have to solve for vision, you'll have to solve for speed, and you'll have to solve for a safety, right? And from there, robots are just around the corner. A few more, I was just recently saw the robot Optimus in the factories of Tesla. It was folding laundry. So yes, that's what we are talking about, what the future might look like 15 years from now. And just to sound a little bit crazy, we are talking about talking robots. We already have ChatGPT and Apple have announced a collaboration, I think yesterday or day before. So we are talking about talking robots which write poetry, give legal advice, draw beautiful pictures, and sing. I know, I'm sorry. Somebody had to say this. This is, of course, all fantastic, and actually a little bit fantastical as well. So let us come back to this present moment. This moment in history, when the potential of what can happen and the possibilities of what may happen often dwarf what is actually happening, which is probably not all that much. As the previous panelists also said, there's a lot of soul searching happening. What do we do with this? What do we do with this technology? So what will the next 10, 15 years be like? Will we have a utopian world where we are free to pursue our passions, read books, draw, paint, and treat work as optional? Universal basic income taking care of all of us like a hobby. Because machines are doing the mundane and transactional tasks, could this lead to a society where creativity flourishes? Or will we face a dystopia where millions are replaced by machines, leading to social unrest? Could the fears some have about machines leveraging their powers to make decisions detrimental to humans become a reality? As me and any of the other experts of this field would admit, we don't know. We don't know. What seems more likely is that what will happen is something in between. We might find ourselves in a world that is incredibly flawed, but also absolutely amazing. Maybe we will witness unbelievable technological solutions that will introduce new, unfathomable social and psychological dimensions. We will have immersive virtual adventures, but we might also fear losing the human touch. As the lines between virtual and real blur, could inequality also rise? Maybe we will see personalization at scale, but also experience feelings of loneliness and alienation. There is undeniable hype around generative AI, and there is also significant amount of fear. Could both the hype and the fear be partially well-founded? These questions invite us to explore the possibilities, ponder the implications, and ask us to remain curious about what the future of AI and technological advancement might bring. I also believe that through understanding, education, knowledge, we dispel some of these fears, and we can also tone down some of the hype. What will be truly harmful, though, is to bury our heads in the sand and pretend this revolution is not happening. We must become aware. And which is why these conversations are useful, like the ones we are having right now. Keeping with the occasion and the context, let me now choose to look at the future from the prism of one area, which is human resource management, and talk about that. Let's talk about what are the opportunities that lay in front of us, what are some challenges, and what can India do? Because the theme is empowering India. So let us look at the ground realities, leave our world of imagination and talking and singing robots behind, and look at what actually, how can we actually leverage the opportunities in front of us, what are the challenges we might face, and what kind of solutions might work for India. The first thing I want to talk about is democratization of technology. Right? Generative AI enables non-technical users to create valuable, reusable tools, enhancing productivity and innovation. In our organization, Ripple's Learning, we have 3 employees who are very, very valuable. Chavi, she takes care of brand management. Sandesh takes care of social media. Milan takes care of community engagement. Of course, the flip side, if you haven't guessed it, is that they're all not human, but they are AI. They are essentially well-trained GPTs, and they are named. Chavi is for brand, Sandesh is for social media, Milan is for community engagement, right? Right. And the interesting thing is that these GPTs, which have been trained by our team, have been created not by, I mean, we do have a tech team, but they have not contributed to the development of this at all. This has been created purely by our internal content creators, marketers, helped by some of our trainers, right? Now, this is very interesting. In fact, it reminds me of the one-line bio that I read of a person who works in OpenAI. It said, the hottest programming language in the world is English. because we can talk, we can communicate with generative AI, and we can ask it to do things for us, and we can create patterns, we can train the AI, and all of this can be done in English language. So I think we have moved from the space of absolutely binary codes where people had to know zeros and ones to talk to a computer, and then we sort of created something in between, programming languages which you had to learn and become a specialist in. And now we're just at plain English. You talk to the computer and the computer tries to do what you want it to do. So that is one very important development that I see. I also see huge productivity gains. I think everybody has spoken about it. Absolutely, there is no question about it. Productivity is going to skyrocket. Efficiency is going to skyrocket. And we are going to have repetitive tasks almost become history in the years to come. I think this will happen through automation and augmentation, and this is something that we can expect to happen. Also, there is a lot of, so the first thing I spoke about was democratization of technology. The second is employee productivity. The third one is really data utilization. Organizations have a plethora of data. They collect data about everything, but all of that data is not always used. Sometimes because of bandwidth, sometimes because simply there is not motivation enough to do it. There's no reason to do it. But now, if we have a machine that can think, you can, I think, start tapping into some of this data and start deriving insights from it, business insights, people insights. I see this happening. What can we expect to see in L&D? We can expect to see personalized learning paths. I think personalization becomes extremely easy with generative AI. Whether it is communication personalization, personalization for different generations within the organization, personalization for the candidate, personalized outreach program, all of these become very, very easy. Virtual coaches and mentors, content curation, and delivery. This is something that we can expect to see in talent acquisition. We had a full session on it, so I don't think I need to talk about it. But automated screening of candidates, predictive analytics for hiring, improved candidate experience are things we can expect. Sentiment analysis, in a way that you've never seen before, qualitative data being analyzed for tone and understanding in a way that has not happened before, real-time feedback systems, AI-driven wellness programs, mental health support, and 24/7 HR support, which is done through chatbots for policy and benefits questions. This is something that in our certification program on generative AI, we do it in 3 hours. In a 3-hour workshop, without any coding, we enable our participants to create such a chatbot. Now, these are some of the key benefits or the key opportunities that exist. Now, what are some key challenges that exist, right? So I think I'll just quickly talk about a few challenges. I think data security and privacy. There is a big controversy about how the AI models have been trained, actually. If you see, very recently, OpenAI has withdrawn a voice called Sky, because it resembled Scarlett Johansson. I think I'm getting that right. And there has been a big issue. New York Times has sued OpenAI because all this training for the AI models has happened without really consent, isn't it? The open internet has been used to train use these AI models. So we will need to see where that goes. There are no clear legal frameworks, especially around ownership of data and information. The closest thing we have to a legal framework, for example, if you use ChatGPT to write a poetry, who owns the poetry, right? Are you the poet? Is ChatGPT the poet? Or are the people whose poems have been used to train your AI, are they the author of the poem? So we don't know. These are things that have to be worked out, and they will be worked out in expensive lawsuits in the years to come. But I was very interesting. One of the closest thing that I heard that was relevant to this was a monkey selfie, right? So there was a tourist who was going in the jungle. His phone fell down. A monkey picked it up and took a selfie, right? Now, animal rights activists claimed in court that the copyright is owned by the monkey because the monkey really took the picture, isn't it? The reason they did that, because if that can happen, if an animal can become an owner of a copyright, there is some element of personhood that gets vested in that animal, and that can be used for animal rights campaigns. However, the court ruled that the monkey cannot have a copyright, right? Now, from what I read, this is the case that will set the precedence for how creations by ChatGPT are likely to be treated, because ChatGPT can claim creation, but can it claim authorship, right? So it's just an intelligent monkey that is typing out a bunch of stuff, isn't it? Yeah, so the data model security is one. Bridging the gap between impressive demos and real world applications. I think this is one thing that comes up again and again. We are able to do extremely good demos with AI, with generative AI, but when it comes to implementing these solutions, making a real difference, doing it at scale, things start to flounder. And I think one of the reasons for that is also the tendency of generative AI models right now to hallucinate. They do not always produce correct data. If you're chatting with bot in a bank and you're not sure if you're getting your account balance right, isn't it? Then that can create its own set of problems. So I think these are issues that are the challenges. There are regulatory and ethical considerations. We also have to explore bias in decision making. I don't know if you looked at the big controversy around Google Gemini that happened a few months ago when it refused to create images of any Caucasian faces, because everything was, and it ended up showing German Nazi soldiers who were black, because they were trying to do, so this is diversity and inclusion taken to the other extreme, where you end up making a mistake because you are training your AI to be so mindful of inclusion. But this is still an example of a bias in AI. And the data that it is trained on, if that data is biased, we can also not be sure of how bias-free AI is. Human touch might go missing, and very, very important, change management, helping employees adapt to this change, manage this anxiety and this knot in the stomach that we experience when you think of, oh, I could do this. I took 2 hours to do this, and the AI can do it in a few seconds. Oh my God, that's like a moment of a jolt that we have to deal with, and then empower our employees and individuals and HR professionals to ensure that they do not become paralyzed because of that, but become energized because of that. So what are the solutions and the way forward? India has done a number of things. Indie AI, the government of India's national AI portal, conducted studies and roundtable discussions. We joined the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence in 2020. We have also released a national strategy for artificial intelligence. However, more needs to be done. Here are some thoughts on what we can do. I think creating specialized AI models is something we can do. We have a lot of data. I think earlier a speaker was talking about how data annotation and data tagging is going to be a huge industry. But you must understand, data annotation and data tagging, while it is a huge industry, must also lead to AI models that are created in India. If we end up doing data tagging and data annotation and the models are not created in India, then essentially we do not benefit immensely for them, and we benefit at the time of creation of the at the time of doing the data tagging, and because there is some money to be made there, but we sort of are not seeing the larger value that exists. The other thing is education and training. We have to invest in education for executives, HR professionals, to understand and effectively implement generative AI. In June of 2023 last year, we launched the CHRMP Generative AI certification for HR professionals. I think we're the very first in the world to do that. Today, we have more than 300 senior HR professionals who have earned the certification. This is an Indian-led certification, which has been availed by members of more than 15 countries. We are quite proud of it. We are also using this speech to announce the launch of CHRMP Global Council for AI in HR. The CHRMP Global Council for Generative AI in HR is committed to leading the exploration, integration, and ethical application of GenAI in the field of HR. We also need to set responsible AI standards, regulatory frameworks, and I just want to close by making a strong case for open sourcing of AI in India, right? If we use open source AI, for example, ironically, from Meta, we have open source AI, even though OpenAI, we have closed source AI, right? But what we have from Meta is open source AI. And I think there is also an AI being developed called Hanuman AI by Mukesh Ambani's group. So I think these are laudable efforts. I'm not sure if it's open source though. We have cost effectiveness, community collaboration, customization and flexibility, and explainable AI versus black box AI. Open source AI promotes transparency and explainability, allowing users to understand and trust AI decision-making processes, unlike black box AI, which operates without revealing how decisions are made. This is extremely important. I'm a passionate advocate of open source AI. And that is why I think while we do set regulatory frameworks, we should not set up a situation where our regulatory frameworks essentially stop upcoming startups and agencies who are going to do breakthrough work, but are now prohibited because of this framework in place, which was not there when the earlier foundational models were being developed. So I think it's rather important for us. We have done it once in the case of the internet, Linux, Unix rule the roost. We have open source frameworks ruling there, though we don't have it in personal computers, but we could do it again. And I think that will be a global good. It will be a common good if we have explainable AI, if we have open source AI. And I think we should try as a country to move in that direction. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you found that useful. Thank you very much.